Hi everyone, Lisette here. Many of us remote workers have difficulty in mastering the work-life rhythm. Now, there are a number of strategies that we can do, everything from basic strategies to more advanced things that we'll talk about in some other episodes. I always recommend starting with creating a personal user manual so that you can get really clear on what is it that you need in order to be productive. And I was thinking about how to best present all the tips. And I re listened to the interview that I did with Rebecca Seal, author of How to Work Alone and Not Lose Your Mind. And I thought I'll just let Rebecca speak for herself.
How do we work alone without losing our mind?
I think one of the big things that the book as a whole tries to encourage people to do is just to have a conversation with yourself about who you are and what you need and want from your life and what will suit you best. Because what I did was quite unthinkingly just adopt all of the things that I had learned about what work was and what an office looked like from my previous job when I'd been a journalist on staff at the Observer, which I'd done for 6 years. And so I just took on the kind of the same routine that I would have had there, the same kind of expectations of what my productivity levels would be. And I didn't really think about it much more than that. I got myself a white desk, put it in a white room, got a desk chair, really ugly one, really uncomfortable, ugly desk chair, and just kind of put my head down. And I didn't look up again for about 6 years. So that's the mistake that I'd really like to encourage people not to do. Is I know it's hard at the moment because we're exhausted because of everything that we've been through, but the questions that I didn't ask myself were, what is it that I want from life? Why have I gone freelance? Why am I working by myself? Like, what are the advantages? What do I want to try and exploit from this situation? What are the things about working in an office that I didn't like that I want to change? And then also, what do I need in terms of social interaction? Like, how do I? There's a brilliant psychologist at Yale called Laurie Santos, and she always calls happiness like she says it's like a car tire that you have to inflate regularly, and if you don't inflate it, it gradually deflates. And I think I think that's very true. And I think that is how I look at work life, in that you have to figure out what are the things that pump up your work tire, not just the work that you do. In fact, that's almost the least important bit of it. But what's the stuff that scaffolds you, that sits around you? Like, are you getting enough access to daylight? Are you leaving your desk enough? Are you taking enough breaks? Are you being the worst boss of yourself you could possibly be? Are you saying, as the boss of your tiny company of one, and this is true even if you're a remote worker with an actual boss, when you work by yourself, you're the only one looking, unless you're working for a horrible organization which digitally monitors you, but essentially you're the only one looking. So are you being really mean in a way that you wouldn't accept from a real human? Are you, for example, saying to yourself, you may only have a lunch break, which is 4 minutes long and consists of you eating some dry cheese directly from the fridge while doom scrolling on Twitter? Then you must return to your desk and expect yourself to do work. Like, is that, if you wouldn't accept that if somebody in real life said that to you, but are you doing that to yourself? Um, or, are you shoving work into a tiny corner of your home and not giving it the kind of primacy that it deserves in the moments where it should have primacy? Are you somebody who needs transitional rituals? Do you need to do things which allow you to shift from the home mode in your brain to the work mode? And if you do, what are they? Like, for me, it's wearing eyeliner and being
Oh,
quite well, quite smartly dressed, like not crazy smartly dressed, but certainly not the kind of looking after small children or, doing the gardening type clothes that I also have. That's really important to me. It's really important that I kind of do things, not just because it's vanity, although I am quite vain, but it's also about saying to myself, I am in work mode, and this is what is happening now. Work is happening now. Other things don't have primacy. Work does, and then I'll shift out of that. So I know people who have a candle that they burn during work time and then they blow it out. I also quite often advise people, because I do quite a lot of talks to businesses to try and help their newly remote staff, if you don't have a door to shut on your work, say you're working in your bedroom, do something symbolic, like throw a sheet over the desk so that your work isn't looking back at you. Do whatever you need to make your brain kind of understand that work is done as much as you needed to do at the beginning to say work has started. So I think those are some quite profound things that we can do. But fundamentally, it's about having a conversation with yourself and saying, who am I and what do I want my life to look like?
So if you're interested in learning more or diving deeper, I really encourage you to join one of our live interactive trainings. You can find those in all time zones all over the world. We've got licensed facilitators who are there who professionally train these workshops. You can also join one of our free events. We host virtual co-working often, and we're also hosting the Facilitators Playground, where you can come and learn new techniques for online facilitation. All right, everybody, I'll see you online.